Hello everyone and welcome to JournalForGills. My name is Lewis and in today's episode of JFG Meets we have former Gillingham defender Matt Fish on the show. Obviously, unfortunately, due to the current coronavirus pandemic, we were apart when having the chat, so it did have to be a phone interview, but do stay tuned for inside stories on Matt getting into football, getting a double promotion at Dover, owing a lot to Andy Hessenthaler, joining Gillingham, adapting under Martin Allen, the goal against Accrington, winning the league, that horrific injury, rehab, moving on, giving up the game early and more. Enjoy. So we're now joined by former Gillingham defender Matt Fish. Matt, thank you for coming on. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Good. Surviving in isolation. Yeah,
I was going to say, I don't think it's ideal for anyone really, but hopefully we can try and provide a little bit of entertainment and interest for people indoors, and hopefully it's over sooner rather than later. But we'll start off at the beginning. A question we ask everyone that comes on really. What got you into football to start with?
Probably my dad. I mean, I was always in football as a young age. I think I first kicked a ball when I was 18 months. And then I just kind of grew up with it. I fell in love with it from the get-go, and it just kind of carried on. And it became my life. It was always my dream to become a footballer, so I was lucky to be able to fulfil that.
And I know you got picked up by Crystal Palace quite early. How did that whole thing come about?
I think I was about 10 or 11, and I went to some district trials actually, like for my local district, and I was already in the team, but I went along to help my dad out, who was helping coach at the time. Okay. And then a scout just saw me. I was playing centre back at the time, and he said, "I want you to come down to Palace for a trial." And I went down there, and I was there from 11 till 18. So I had a good amount of time there. Kind of set me off on my way really, and kind of installed that professionalism that kind of got me into the professional game.
And how would you summarise your time at Palace? Was it positive for you?
Yeah, it was positive. Like I've got people that I talk to still now that I come through Crystal Palace with, and we had a great team and we did really well. Like we got quite fine at FA Youth Cup, and it was good because I left school and I went straight into like the scholarship there. Yeah. So it was like the perfect way for me to like start my career. Yeah. Which obviously I wanted to do. So
I know you had a little loan spell at Wimbledon as well, but we'll skirt over that in terms of trying to fit everything in the time we've got. But how did it come to leaving Crystal Palace when you departed?
So it's Peter Taylor. It's quite strange actually. Peter Taylor came in as a manager. It was like 16 of us, and I think only 3 or 4 people got a professional contract. Right. And I think it was probably a blessing in disguise actually, because I went down to non-league. I got to play a lot more football, men's football. Travelled around the country, so probably looking back at it now, it's definitely a blessing that I got let go. But at the time, it was obviously hard to take.
And I've asked a couple of people this, but how important do you think it is in terms of young players coming through to maybe dropping down but going and playing men's football in terms of getting the experience of proper men's football?
Yeah, I think it's like massively important for me just because it grew me up, and like I was in the change room with like men that played the game at like a decent level, so if I did something wrong, I was getting hammered, you know what I mean? And to take that at like 18, 19 to start with was quite tough. Where if I'd stayed at Palace, I'd have probably just been playing reserves with people at my own age. Yeah. Where if you make a mistake, they're probably not going to say boo to a goose. Yeah. But it like grew me up quickly. Yeah, I think the team we had at Dover was like a great team to like step into, and I played a hell of a lot of games there as well. So yeah, it was definitely a learning curve, and it helped me grow up.
And why Dover when you're coming out of Crystal Palace? Why was it Dover you went to?
So Darren Hare actually was my educational officer at Palace, and he went down to Dover as assistant manager. So he said, "Do you want to come down for a trial?" I said, "Why not?" Because he said about Hess going there as manager and the team that they was putting together and what they was looking to do, and it kind of like made me realise that it might be a good opportunity. But it was a hell of a way to drive. But I just took the gamble because I was young. So luckily it paid off.
Yeah, got to respect that decision. And Dover was struggling a little bit in terms of trying to get out the league, work the way up the leagues before you went in. But then when Andy Hessenthaler went in as well, it seems like he changed things around.
Yeah, I think he brought a lot of players in like myself that had kind of been let go from bigger clubs. He brought in like young lads that were hungry to get back into the full-time game, but he also brought in like some older lads that like experienced and have been in the full-time game. So he had a great blend. Yeah. And I think he wanted to make it like a professional club, but obviously we were still part-time, so we still did things like professionally on and off the pitch. Yeah. And I think that's why we got back-to-back promotion straight away, really.
Yeah, and you mentioned the blend of the squad and that sort of thing, and the back-to-back promotions, obviously going to Isthmian Premier first season, the Conference South the second season. How special was that squad for you?
Yeah, I mean, we still talk now. To be fair, like I've been to one of the lads' weddings, and we still talk. We've got a WhatsApp group now. So like even that, and that's like that's like 10 years ago now. So
yeah,
it was because we was all travelling so far to go there. Like we all had little car schools, and we'd all like go on nights out and stuff like that. And we'd get into training early. We'd stay behind training late, even though we was training in the evening. It was a good squad there that kind of bonded quite quickly.
Yeah.
And some of the boys already knew each other as well because they was all from like the Kent area, so they kind of knew of each other, which helped as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's just from Hess really. He kind of got everyone together, and it was probably one of the best squads I've played with.
In terms of the double promotion, I mean, I know it might be a little bit different further down the pyramid, but most of the time you'd assume that after getting a promotion, the aim is to sort of solidify yourself in that league. But going into the Conference South after that back-to-back promotion, what were the plans for the season?
We wanted to get promoted again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no hanging around there because they had a 5-year plan, so it was kind of get promoted. But
okay.
I think we lost in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The first attempt.
How was it losing out in the playoffs? Because like you said, they had a 5-year plan, etc. Did that sort of dent stuff around the club or not?
Yeah, I think it's tough to take because I think the season we missed out on the playoffs, we was top for like quite a long time, and then we ended up falling off the top spot, and it's only one went up, and then the other one went up through the playoffs. And then I got injured, so I didn't actually play that. I only played half of the game, actually, because I injured my ankle, I think.
Okay.
I ended up coming off or coming on. No, I ended up coming on when we was losing to Woking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was tough, obviously, because we'd hardly lost any games in 2 seasons, and then to not get promoted again was, like, kind of bittersweet. Like, we didn't really expect that.
That's fair enough. And then, obviously, Andy Hessenthaler departed during your time with Dover. How did things change when he left?
It was a bit more relaxed, and then the squad kind of changed, the manager changed.
Yeah.
And to be fair, my head went a little bit because I didn't really like the new manager that come in when he first come in.
Okay.
We didn't really get on. We kind of had a few run-ins in the change rooms, and he had a few run-ins with the older players. But then it kind of settled down, and I actually ended up playing like 50 games in a season and probably had one of my best seasons at Dover. I think it's just because I was a bit more relaxed.
Okay.
I knew that Hess was kind of watching me from Gills, so I kind of knew I had to keep performing in that because the potential might come for me to get a move, which ended up happening. And I got quite a lot of attention that season because I played so many games and we'd done well in the FA Cup. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the FA Cup and obviously the game against Gillingham. How was that in terms of being the Kent derby, etc.?
Yeah, that was hard. Like, obviously, it was great for us to get through, but because Hesse had kind of given me that stepping stone to get back into the game, it felt quite tough because he was on the verge of getting sacked, and I knew a few of the players at Gills as well. So it was a tough one, but like, it was a great day for the fans, for the Dover fans. They loved it, and it obviously got us into the second round, which was then a great evening that we had on TV, which is good. So that was a good FA Cup run. Yeah, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, and as soon as Andy Hessenthaler went to Gillingham, did you sort of have one eye on that potential move then?
Yeah, well, he spoke to me in the summer when he got that move and said, like, I want to take you up, but it depends on money. Like, he couldn't match my money, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't a money thing that stopped me going. I just think that the timing wasn't right, and he signed another defender. He ended up signing instead of me, who could play a couple more positions than me. So he was more looking for someone that could play centre back and right back, where I was just predominantly a right back at the time.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
The timing just weren't right, to be fair.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Or we'll get onto it, but it seems like it eventually was right in the end. But in terms of, like you say, a brilliant FA Cup run, reaching the third round for what I believe was the first time in the club's history. And I think I'm right in saying that season you just missed out on the playoffs, and that was your final year. The move to Gillingham in 2011, how did that come around? I think you've probably summarised it already, but why did that happen? What made it the right time then?
I think Hesse, he'd obviously got rid of a couple of players from Gills that had been there on contracts that when he couldn't get rid of them.
Okay.
And then I actually ended up taking a pay cut to go there just because I thought this is going to be my only chance to get back into the pro game. So I took a pay cut. It was a shorter drive. I was training every day. I was going to be living my dream of being a professional footballer. And he said, like, come, like, I want you to come down here. You might not play every game, but I want you to, like, come and, like, be full time. So I had to take the opportunity, really. And the time at Dover was kind of over. I've been there 4 years, played a lot of games, and they was kind of stuck in the Conference South then. So it was kind of the best time for me to move. And obviously a few of the boys from Dover went as well, which was good.
Yeah, absolutely. And going into that season, the season under Andy Hessenthaler, the club's just missed out on the playoffs. What are the ambitions going into the new season?
I think it was just to try and get in the playoffs again, because obviously they missed out. And they did have a great season. They had a great run, didn't they? But they didn't have a great season to start with.
Yeah.
I think they were just obviously trying to get into the playoffs, and he was trying to build his own team, because he had recruited players from the previous manager that were on like longer deals. So he was obviously trying to shape his own squad.
Yeah.
But still trying to get in the playoffs. I was obviously just trying to get my foot into the door and trying to get into the starting 11.
Yeah. And what was your relationship like with Andy Hessenthaler? How would you summarise it? Because obviously you played with him at Dover, he then brought you to Gillingham, you said you were in constant contact. How was your relationship with him?
Yeah, it's really good actually. Like, he obviously gave me a stepping stone into back into football basically, and he gave me my professional career. So I owe him a lot, and he knows that, and I've thanked him many a time when I've seen him. And I would still speak to him now. Like, I could still pick up the phone to him, and I know that he would give me advice and stuff like that. So he was harsh with me at the start, but then he kind of nurtured me through, and yeah, I owe him a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, and that must have made it extra gutting when the team again missed out on the playoffs at the end of that season.
Yeah, that was tough, because obviously we missed out on the playoffs. I played a little bit towards the end, and then we didn't think he was going to get the sack, and then he did. So it's just quite hard to take, and I didn't know really where my career was going to go then, because I'd never been in a professional game before. I'd only ever had him as a manager, really. So I didn't really know how another manager would take me. Okay. Which is quite tricky to take.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I think, I don't know, because I suppose as a squad, when you're sort of doing okay and you sort of think, okay, we'll go again next year, I don't know if it's different as fans. Fans might think maybe it's time for a change or whatever, but obviously at the same time, he's a club legend, so it's hard. But obviously, Martin Allen comes in, the title-winning season. What did he say to the team from the off?
He was just crazy positive to start with. Like, everything was about getting promoted and trying to win the league, and he wasn't going to settle for anything else. Okay. I'd obviously heard rumours of him like being mad dog and stuff like that, and being quite a crazy cat. So when I first got into training with him, he didn't know who I was, because I'd never hardly played any games as a pro, and hadn't really been at any clubs where he'd really known me. Yeah. So I thought I was actually going to get let go. Okay. And he said that to me, that he was close to letting me go until he saw me play at Dartford away in pre-season. Right. And then obviously it was a decision between me and Barry Fuller, and based on that Dartford game, Martin Allen ended up obviously keeping me on, and I think he ended up letting Baz go, because Baz had quite a bad injury and he was coming back from it. So yeah, I felt quite fortunate at that time, really.
And how did your relationship develop with him? Because like you say, it's a new man. Like you say, you've only really known Hess before. So how did your personal relationship develop with Martin?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, he gave me like a new lease of life. Like, he made me such a positive player, and like my attitude towards like how I did things just totally changed, and it made me more of a pro, I think, and made me realise how good a player I was. Yeah. I don't know how he done that, but it just kind of worked. We just kind of, I don't know, it was just, he was kind of like, I'd say like a father figure in football, really. Okay.
And we hear stories about him behind closed doors and stuff. I spoke to Adam Barrett and Danny Kedwell recently. We see him fall down the stairs and dug up, that sort of thing. But what was he like in the changing rooms from your point of view?
Actually, that video that was recorded on my TV, because me and my old man was watching that game, and we saw him fall down the stairs in the background. Yeah, I recorded it on my phone.
Oh wow.
Yeah, in training, like, he just like, I've seen him like headbutt goalposts and do like Klingsmans in the snow, and he used to bring his dog to training every day, and if you kick the ball at his dog, like, you'd be on the bench on the weekend. Just a crazy guy. Like, made us jump in the swimming pool at the outdoor swimming pool in Gillingham. I don't know where. I think it's just by just down from the ground. He made us go down there one day, and we just all jumped in our training kit.
Really? Okay.
Just a crazy guy, but like, if you're winning, he's a great manager and a great person to have around the place. If you lose, it was different story.
What about tactically then, in terms of his footballing brain?
Yeah, he knows how he wants to play, and he obviously wants his teams to be on. He wanted us to be on the front foot and just have crazy high energy. Yeah. Technically, he just had us really well organised. Like, it was a bit like the Dover team. We had young lads that were really hungry and energetic, but then down the spine of the team, we just had loads of experience. Yeah. So we had Adam Barrett, we had Leon Legg, we had David Wright, had Keds, like Stephen Gregory, players like that had just played loads of games at that level. Yeah. Like Framo and things like that. So, and then like, we obviously had me and Joe, and he had like Westy like on the wings, and then Charlie Allen, his boy, like loads of energy, like either side of that experience, which is good.
Yeah. I've actually got the home kit from that season signed on my wall behind me. So
yeah,
always memorable
that.
From that campaign. So did you say the plans from the off were to sort of win the league? He wanted to win the league.
Yeah, that was it. That was all. That was. I think his previous jobs had all been saving teams from relegation. Yeah. So he kind of felt blessed to like have a team that was up and around the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think he got quite a hand in like the players he brought in, and you could tell that he wanted to like kick on and try and like get promoted. And obviously the bond that we all of a sudden got as a team was like so strong, and the players he brought in that summer were like great additions to the squad.
Yeah.
And they were like good men, like good people as well. They weren't just good footballers. And I think that just added to like, actually we can win the league.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously we were up there the whole season really. And I just want to talk about a personal highlight for you, because I remember it really clearly because it was around my birthday. I remember with loads of friends. The goal against Accrington. I don't think many people would have expected that, I think it's fair to say. Can you just explain it from your point of view?
I got hammered because people didn't used to think that my left foot was that good, but my left foot was actually decent, to be fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously I was trying to overlap Welps, who tried to cross the ball, and then it just bounced back, and I thought, why not? And I probably couldn't hit it any better. I've still got the video on my phone actually, because my mate recorded it. It got goal of the day, and my mate recorded it on Sky.
Yeah.
So I've still got that on my phone.
Yeah. No, it was good. Like you say, I remember because I was only young. I was only probably about 12, 13. But
wow.
I remember getting like all the autographs of the subs warming up and stuff, and then like you pull that out of nowhere, it's gone mental. So it's always
it's lit.
Yeah, it was good. In that season, what point did you sort of realise that maybe not winning the league, but promotion was a real possibility?
I don't know how many games into the season it was, but we played AFC Wimbledon away.
Yeah. And
I think we won 1-0. And we got battered the whole game, and it was proper windy, and we snuck a 1-0 win.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that far into the season, and after, in a change room, we were singing "We're Champions."
Really?
Like that's how confident we were, because Stephen Gregory was in the AFC Wimbledon dressing room, and he was like, why the hell are they singing that? Like, it was like 15 games in or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember I was talking to Danny Jackman yesterday, and I remember talking to him about his goal against Exeter, and obviously I remember losing that game 3-2, and he left in January that season, and I remember after that game, even though we lost, I can't remember when it was, but obviously it was before he left, and everyone's singing like positive about being top of the league, going on to be successful. So yeah, no, it was. I think the mentality was there all around. And then in terms of actually winning the league, what point did you realise that was on?
I can't even remember. It's so long ago now, but it seems so. Like I think like now, it doesn't seem that long ago, but I think there was a point where we beat Port Vale away, but then I think they beat us at home, I'm not sure.
Yeah, they did, 2-1, yeah.
Yeah, I think when we went back on top, because they overtook us for like a game, and then we went back on top of the league, and then maybe after the Accrington game, because I think that put us quite far ahead of them.
Yeah.
Probably after that, I think, yeah, because our home form was like unreal. I never thought we wasn't going to win the league, to be fair, or we wasn't going to get promoted. I think that was the thing, because in that league, 3 people get promoted automatically.
Yeah.
I think we always knew we was going to get promoted, so the kind of winning the league was kind of a bit like cherry on top.
Yeah, because when I spoke to Danny Kedgell, he said that the Port Vale game where they beat us, and then after that they were just pretty inconsistent themselves as well. So took advantage of it, and then they didn't even finish second that year, did they? So it just seemed a bit like a 2-horse race, and then obviously they didn't come second. But yeah, the important thing's us, of course. And the day promotion's confirmed, Torquay at home, Kedgell gets the goal, the 1-0 win, but they're coming at the end. But obviously we get the win. Can you talk us through that day when promotion was confirmed?
Yeah, Ledge. I mean, like, it's a great feeling knowing that you're going to get promoted, and there's still got like 4 or 5 games to play.
Yeah,
you can kind of like relax a little bit more. But even then, in the change room, I remember the gaffer saying like he wants to win the league. We're promoted, but he wants to be a champion.
Yeah. And
that's like, that was obviously our aim was to get promoted. But when you get promoted, you just want to then go and like win the league.
Yeah.
And that was a talk in the change room after. That you wanted to be a champion, because you can't, because then you kind of go down in like kind of go down in the history book, but you're kind of more known then for being like a winners of the League Two.
Yeah.
Of that season. And
I suppose if you're up and then you sort of drop off a bit, maybe the season, the last thing you remember would be on a downer, maybe if you didn't go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think I'm right in saying we went to Cheltenham in the week or something, and we lost 1-0. We could have won it that day, but then we go into the Wimbledon game, final home game of the season, get a point, we win the league. What was the preparation like for that day?
I think in training we just played like little games all week. There wasn't really much preparation. We just kind of had fun in training. And then I remember, because Ked's obviously come from Wimbledon, and that held quite a high place in his heart. I think a draw was the best for both, because we had some players from Wimbledon, and I knew some players from Wimbledon, and obviously they knew players from Gillingham. So I think a draw was the best, because we won the league as champions and they stayed up as well. And we actually didn't play that well that game. I think we was 2-0 down.
I think we were 2-0 up and threw it away. Yeah.
Oh, was it 2-0 up? Yeah, okay. I remember we was winning, so they scored 2, and then they hit a post up with about a minute to go.
Yeah.
And then the ref blew the whistle, and then there's a pitch invasion. Yeah,
because I remember like being 2-0 up half time, and I was like, oh, this is a breeze. And then I think second half we were pretty much defending on the goal line. It's crazy. But what do you remember from the pitch invasion? Because obviously photos of people being chucked in the air and stuff. Nothing springs to mind about you personally. What do you remember?
I just remember I just remember loads of people getting into my face and absolutely stinking of beer. I know that sounds stupid, but there must have been so many people that were lashed. It was like everyone was just in your face, like fishy, all I could smell was beer. And I think someone tried to pick me up, and I just looked over, and there was like a few players like on people's shoulders and that. Yeah, it's quite scary, because like obviously I was on my own. I didn't know anyone around me, because I didn't know where any of the players were, and everyone was like half cut.
Yeah.
But no, good scenes, good memories.
Yeah, I said to the others recently that my biggest regret being a Gillingham fan was because I was only young and my dad wouldn't let me on the pitch, because he was like, people get in trouble for going on the pitch. You can't go on the pitch. I'll have cameras. And I was like, no, just let me on. But
I think they said on the tannoy, like, please don't have a pitch invasion, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. Like.
No, I remember people sort of like lining up as it was as the force was about to go. And I think it got to the point where the stewards were just letting people on, to be honest, like just embracing it. But yeah, that's my biggest regret. But obviously winning the league was pretty good. The following year, then we were back up to League One. Your first time playing League One, of course. What were the ambitions for that season? Was it just to solidify, or was it to push on further, perhaps?
I think it was just to kind of solidify and just stay in League One. Personally, I was excited for the season, because I had like a bit of interest in the summer from like having a good season before, and I was obviously looking to prove myself in League One, and then who knows what might happen. Which obviously, unfortunate for me, lasted all of 5 minutes, and then the season was kind of over. But I had a good summer that season. The season we won the league, I had a good summer, and I was excited to go back, and just unfortunate that I had a bad injury.
No, I think everyone remembers it pretty clearly. But well, it's probably a dark time for you, but we'll touch on the injury. You get the horrible injury. I think was it your ACL?
My left ACL.
Can you just talk us through what happened?
So it was 5 minutes in, wasn't it? I mean, I'd had in pre-season, I think we played AFC away, and I slid into the goalpost, and I bruised my knee with about 2 weeks to go before the season. And obviously, I wanted to play the first game of the season, just because of the buzz around the place, and it was at home. I mean, it was in a new league against different opposition, and my knee was like on the verge of like. For the first week, I couldn't really extend it. And it was so fat that I could walk on it, but it hurt to walk. But it was just swelling, and then I managed to like train a couple of days before the game, and the gaffer obviously put me in because I'd obviously trained for those 2 days. But my knee wasn't right. Like I could run on it, but I could feel it, so it was quite stiff and swollen anyway. And then their defender, when I played the ball down the line, and I went to turn, and obviously thinking it was going to go in behind me. And then I think Stephen Gregory blocked it, and then it popped out in front of me. And I've gone to turn back, and my boot stayed in the ground, and my knee just twisted. And it's probably the worst bit of pain I've probably ever had. For 2 minutes, my leg was just, it was horrible.
Did you know you'd done it straight away, sort of thing?
I heard something, but then because after that 2 minutes, the pain went away, and I got up and I walked off. And I wanted to get let back on, but the physio said no, because I think the physio knew what I'd done, but he just didn't tell me. And I just went and sat in the physio room on my own, and I just kind of laid there with like a blanket over my face, and I just waited for the doctor to come in. He'd done like the tests, and again he didn't tell me, but he was like, "You need to have a scan." He knew then, like, and I know now that if I'd have known what I was looking for, I would have known as well. And then I had a scan like 4 days later, and then the results the day after that, and it was kind of the season done.
No, it's a shame because I remember obviously coming, even that League Two defensive unit, sort of like you, Leon Legg, Adam Barrett, Joe Martin, Nels, that sort of thing. Like, it was such a good unit, and it's probably my favourite sort of defence from my time supporting Gillingham. And then to get that happen, like from your point of view, must have been horrible, and I think for fans as well, wasn't ideal. So
it wasn't ideal, but I think like it's kind of made me realise like there's other things to football.
Yeah.
Looking back on it now, like there's life ain't just all about football. Like there's other things going on, and I'm kind of grateful for that. So.
How do you deal mentally with something like that? Because obviously you're sort of training away from the team. Like you said, you discovered that there's more to life than football, that sort of thing. How did you deal with it all?
It was tough, to be fair, because obviously I was on my own, living at my mum and dad's house. I just had a knee operation. The day I got out of hospital, I didn't think I'd be able to even run again, let alone play football. I remember being in tears in my mum and dad's house, thinking, how the hell am I going to even run, let alone play?
Yeah.
I don't know, I just kept busy. Like, I went on holiday, I moved out of my mum and dad's house, I got my own place, which kept me busy for a few months. Read books, got like into like spiritual books and stuff like that, and got quite deep. And my rehab was actually really positive, and I come out of it like thinking, I can still be a professional footballer. It was just about keeping your mind busy. It wasn't like, every day. Like when I used to go into training, I used to just do my rehab, and I used to have fun with the lads. I used to stay behind, play ping pong, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was just keeping mentally busy.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, no, it sounds like you kept yourself busy, that sort of thing, kept positive spirits, that sort of thing. And then you made your return, I think it was to the end of that season, wasn't it? Last 2 games or so against Shrewsbury. How was the feeling making your return, coming off the bench?
It was tough because a new manager had come in, and that manager was the manager that released me from Palace. Yeah. So I knew I was up against it straight away. Yeah. And then I think I played against Newcastle in the cup. Yeah. I thought I played well, but then got absolutely hammered by the gaffer. Right. When he hadn't hardly seen me play at all, he obviously had a negative thoughts about me before I'd even played. So it was tough for me, really. I was ready to leave the football club like before the end of that season. I didn't really get a lot of opportunity to show him what I could do. It was tough because he knew I had a bad injury, and straight away people think, he's not going to come back the same player. So yeah. That's interesting because if it started all at Palace with Peter Taylor, then it comes round all those years later. Yeah. Interesting. You obviously mentioned that the new manager come in. Going back a bit, I know you weren't playing, but what was the vibe around the camp when Martin Allen departed? It was tough. I think he kind of lost the dressing room. He brought in some players in the summer that I don't think were League One level. Okay. So like he kind of strengthened, but not really for that level. But I think he'd lost the dressing room, and then the chairman wasn't sure, and then he was having bust-ups with the chairman, I believe, and then it was tricky, man. As soon as you leave the dressing room and people start talking, then it's kind of like a done deal. Yeah, that's fair enough. Peter Taylor come in. Obviously, you said yourself you've got history with him. How was life under Peter Taylor? To be fair, because I was rehabbing my knee, I used to see them train at the training ground, but it was it was totally different. The way he played was totally different. It was quite boring. It was quite simple. Training wasn't as high intensity. Okay. I'm not too sure. I don't know whether he was the right man to try and get to where the club wanted to get to, but he kind of allowed the club to become a bit more stable, and he kind of cemented us into League One. Okay. Even after I left, they kind of held their own in League One, and obviously they're still there now. So I guess he laid some foundations for League One football. Yeah. And I think you've touched on it a little bit, but what was your personal relationship like with him? Because when he came in, you must have had a chat with him, because I'm going to assume you hadn't spoken to him throughout those years. No. What was your relationship like with him personally? I don't even remember really talking to him a lot. Obviously, I spoke to him about what I was doing and that, and I think he brought in a couple of players, and they were players that he had brought into other clubs before. So I obviously knew that I wasn't on his favourite list as to when I'd come back. Yeah. But because I was rehabbing for the whole of that season, I hardly spoke to him. I was just kind of kept myself to myself. I didn't need to go and speak to him, you know what I mean? Because I weren't playing, I didn't need to surround myself with him. So, he kind of ended my career at both clubs. Yeah. But it is what it is, isn't it? That's football, man. It's opinions, because one manager likes you, one manager don't. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Obviously, the
club-wise, we obviously solidified our position in League One, which was obviously the ultimate aim. And obviously, this next year was the year where you departed the club. I remember you going out on loan briefly, first to Portsmouth. Was that because of, in terms of getting minutes, that sort of thing? And how was your time there?
Yeah, Portsmouth was just to get games under my belt, really. My agent said, they're looking for players because they had 2 injuries from their right-backs. And they were kind of looking to obviously get in the playoffs and get promoted, and I'd got a good rep in League Two, so they took me down there. There was like 50 people in the squad. The changing room was just ridiculous. Like, there was no space to even get changed.
Yeah.
The club was just kind of in transition, and they were just trying to find a formula to win.
Yeah.
I played like 3 games, got booed. The whole team got booed when you lost at home. It was tough, but it was good to get out of London for a little bit. I mean, I went and stayed down there for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then their injuries come back, and then I got the whole of Christmas off because I didn't tell Gills that I had come back from loan, and and obviously Portsmouth didn't need me anymore, so I just had the whole of that Christmas off.
Okay.
I didn't tell Peter Taylor.
Right.
I just said that I was still down in Portsmouth training.
Was that because you didn't want to play for him, or why was that?
Well, my loan was for free. I think my loan was for 2 months, so my loan wasn't actually up. But the Portsmouth manager said that I could go back because he didn't need me. So I just stayed at home and didn't go to Gills and didn't go to Portsmouth.
Okay. So in January you departed Gillingham when a couple of others had left, like Danny Kedwell, etc. Can you just talk about how your departure came about?
I think it was actually through Keds. Actually, I got into Gills one day and I was in the kit room, and Danny Kedwell said to me, "Fishy, me and you are going to Ebbsfleet." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, the manager's just messaged me saying he wants to take me and you." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Yeah, just give him my number and let me know." And then about 2 days later, we ended up signing the contract. Gills left Gills and went to Ebbsfleet with Keds.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Did you have any doubts about sort of staying at Gills, or did you know your time was done?
No, I knew my time was done, and there was only like not even 6 months left of the season, so my contract was going to be up at the end of the year anyway. Yeah. So it was a good time to get out, and I went to Ebbsfleet, who was kind of looking to do what Dover done.
Yeah.
But with more money and more ambition, so it was kind of an idea. And their training was 3 days a week, and I'm looking to go and doing some personal training in London as well, so it kind of fitted my life at that time perfectly.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you have any sort of negative feelings towards Gills, or is it all positive memories?
No, not at all. I had the best season of my career at Gillingham, and I've made some great mates, and who we still talk to now, and I think we're in one of the Gills lounges, hopefully still. So yeah, hopefully I'd love to come back and watch. I just don't really have the time on the weekends to do that now.
Yeah.
And I don't know anyone. I only know the physio there.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe one day I said I was going to go down there and watch Daki when he played there, but they're not in that league now. So one day I'd love to come back and just watch, or maybe if I get asked back, you never know.
Yeah. I think when I spoke to Danny Kedwell the other day, he said there should be like a charity game, like the League 2 team against the team now, something like that.
Oh yeah, that'd be legend. Yeah, I'd be struggling because I actually don't kick a ball at all now. So.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Give it a go, 10 minutes or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, like you said, you went to Ebbsfleet. How would you summarise your time at the club?
Yeah, it was legend. Again, there was like pros trying to get back into the game, and they was trying to obviously help Ebbsfleet get into the league.
Yeah.
The training, it was just like being at a pro club, but you was just there less days. We was there 3 days a week, so you got an extra day off.
Okay.
Yeah, they had massive ambitions, but which comes with massive pressure. And obviously, we didn't get promoted. I went there for like 6 months, didn't get promoted that season, and then the season after that, we didn't get promoted again. Then I got a bad injury. Yeah, I had a good time there. Like when I played a lot of games, and I was regular, and I done really well. And I think that I got on with the fans and the players there, and I actually learned a lot off the coaching staff there.
Yeah.
Again, it's just unfortunate that I got a niggly injury, and when you don't get promoted 2 seasons in a row, the pressure just mounts on you even more. Yeah.
So maybe it didn't go to plan, but why did you leave?
Yeah, my injury, and then obviously I fell out of favour. The manager brought in some new players in the summer. The season before that, I had a bad ankle injury, and I tried to play through it, which probably didn't help me because I ended up playing bad. And then,
okay.
I had to have some surgery on my ankle, and then the manager said I didn't come back as well as I was before the injury. So a bit like my ACL, it's just a different part of my body that had kind of broken.
Okay. Okay, interesting, fair enough. And I know you went to Welling for a little bit, and then you sort of said, no, you don't kick a ball anymore.
Yeah.
Still only, is it 31 you are?
Yeah, 31, yeah.
That's still quite a young age. How comes you've just chucked it all in?
I think Welling, I only went there to help the chairman out, so I knew the chairman, and it was kind of round the corner, and it fitted in with my life. I was trying to get into like the fitness industry and trying to launch my own business and whatnot. Okay. And I just kind of fell out of love with it. Like, I never wanted to play football for money,
right? And
I found that I only went to Welling to help the chairman out, and then it become a bit of a shambles there, and I was only really playing for money, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I was just picking up money at the end of the week that didn't really have a massive impact on my life.
Yeah.
And I wanted my time. I wanted to see my family and my missus and my mates for a lot more. And like part-time football, it takes up a lot of your time. It takes up the whole of your Saturday, and that's the only time that my missus got off work. So I'd only see her for one day of the week.
Yeah.
I didn't love football, you know what I mean? I didn't love football anymore, and I found I could earn just as much money doing something else I loved.
Yeah. And
have more time on my hands.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. And like, obviously, everyone's got to have a plan after football anyway. And I suppose you just done it a little bit earlier, so there's no problem with that at all.
And I wish I'd done it earlier than that. To be fair, I should have just left Ebbsfleet and just called it a day.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So what are you up to now? I know you're doing a bit of personal training, that sort of thing. Do you want to talk about a little bit about what you do now?
So I work for a little boutique fitness company that I've got 8 studios dotted around London called One Rebel.
Okay.
And they do like classes-based workouts, like they're basically for like city goers and stuff like that. Which is a massive company, and I look after a team there, and I love what I do. Actually, it's like I'm surrounded by like-minded people, and we have fun and that. That's probably the only part of football that I miss, the banter. But I kind of get that with what I do now, but it's just different.
Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah.
That's fair enough. And what
play a lot of golf.
Yeah, a lot of golf.
Yeah, a lot of golf. Yeah.
So do you completely hate football now, or you just not really got any interest in it?
I wouldn't say I hate football. I'd say I don't love playing it, and I was never a fan.
Okay.
I love playing football, but I'd never go home and watch football. Okay. I didn't support a team. I'd never if someone said like, "Oh, do you want to have a game like down a park or something like that?" I'd probably say once out of 10 times if someone asked me.
Okay.
I think being involved in football, you know what goes on behind the scenes, and you know how, like in 10 years, I had 3 good seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of downs and not a lot of ups. I think you find that if in the lower leagues, you just kind of, you're going to have to get a job after football, and I just fell out of love with it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Final question, what do you think the future holds for you then?
Well, I was due to get married on the 24th of May, which is probably unlikely to happen now.
Right,
but,
yeah.
Hopefully getting married later in the year. I've just bought myself a house with my fiancée, so
okay.
I don't know, I want to travel the world and within the fitness industry and probably have a family in a couple of years. Yeah.
Nice one. No, that's brilliant.
Play a lot of golf and that, and actually stay in contact with some of the lads that I play football with, which I do, which I think is a good thing. Like, out of all of it, I've got like a good group of mates, so I know that I could still chat to. Like, I spoke to Lewis Montrose this morning, so
yeah, I think you definitely make a lot of friends through football, and that's
for sure.
Things. That's one of the main things. No, Matt, thank you for talking to me today. I really appreciate it. And I wish you all the best, and all the best for your wedding as well.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
So that's that for this episode of JFG Meets. I'd like to give another huge thank you to Matt for taking the time out of his day to chat to me. Please do like the video if you enjoyed, and feel free to leave a comment and subscribe to the channel as well. Please check out all of our other platforms, which can be found in the description, and do let us know anyone else related to the club that you think we should get on the show in the future. We do have a few episodes lined up already, so keep an eye out for those, and please check out all of our previous episodes as well if you fancy it. See you soon.